What could be coming in Apple's unprecedented Monday event? This is Mac Voices. Today's Mac Voices is supported by MacVoices After Dark. What happens before the show starts and after we sign off? Informative, fun, and completely off-script conversations. That's what. MacVoices After Dark is an exclusive benefit for our Patreon subscribers. Sign up now at patreon.com/MacVoices. Welcome to Mac Voices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. This is Mac Voices Live. It's Tuesday night. It's 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, whatever time that is, wherever you are. We're on YouTube at youtube.com/MacVoicesTV. You could be here too with us in the chat room. We have a number of friends there already. Usually more show up just a few minutes after we get started. God, there's a lot of stuff going on all of a sudden. It was slow news for the last couple of weeks, and then everything exploded today. So we have
slow news until noon.
Yeah, so we have a number of things to get through tonight. So we're just going to rush around and introduce the panel and then take off and see how far we can get. Displacing one of our other panel members in the corner of the angels tonight, Mr. Webb Bixby has risen to the top. Webb, good to see you.
Good to see you, Chuck. Good to be here. Sorry, David. I'd change it if I could.
Mr. Brian Flanigan-Arthurs is here as well, sporting a tie, and he's the only tie of the evening. Brian, good to have you.
Thank you. So good to be here and sport specifically the Phoenix Suns tie opening game tonight.
Okay.
Go Suns.
Chuck's giving a completely blank look. I have no idea what you're talking about.
No politics on this show.
Basketball team.
Oh, basketball. Okay.
And the baseball team's on too.
Yeah.
I've been watching. I've seen
Second
that in
screen.
Brian's feed quite a bit. So
One of your teams are from your state is against them. So
the gentleman who is trying to replace Wayne Newton as Mr. Vegas, David Ginsburg. Dave, good to have you.
good to be here. I appreciate that. Thanks. I was in Vegas over the weekend and got to see the U2 band at the Sphere. It was very cool.
Is it something you'd recommend, Dave?
I would definitely recommend it. It was quite a technology, eye candy, all kinds of stuff going on. I have pictures to prove it. The images of the video are just absolutely amazing.
So in this case, what happens in Vegas does not stay in Vegas.
No, there's lots of it out there. Thanks, Frankie.
Jeff Gamet is here. He's sitting smack dab in the middle of my screen, so that's where my eye goes as soon as I look up and look at the panel.
You're
Jeff,
welcome.
Yeah, it's very comforting to see you there.
Well, I'm glad I can bring that to you. And I have to say, if you haven't seen Dave's stage show, I mean, the presence he has, he doesn't need to have massive Jumbotron Death Star size screens all around him for his shows. He carries it. It's epic.
Would you agree that his version of Donkashane is the superior one?
It is. And I mean, who could have thought that you can have an incredible shred guitar solo in the middle of Donkashane and make it work? And yet here we are.
Yep. Yes.
Donkashane. Oh, Donkashane. It was amazing. I loved it.
And tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.
Yeah.
Ben Roethig, good to see you. What's called? What do you have a football jersey on tonight, or are you just?
Yes, I do.
Okay, should I ask which one?
Yep. And I do have to say, with both Dave and the show, the best is yet to come.
Okay.
Right. Did nobody get the Frank Sinatra reference?
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I missed that. Sorry. Anyway, sporting a new, very seasonal look, Mr. Eric Bolden is here. Eric, that's a great shot for a background. I love that.
Yeah, the trees cooperated this year, gently changing color and not dropping yet.
the maples were very nice, very kind. So
And here I thought you just had an awesome hat.
No, that's a really I mean, it's so well saturated. Seriously, it's so well saturated. It's, a lot of detail. That's nice. That's nice. So Jim Ray is here. He's still calling in from deep space. Jim, good to have you as always.
I am also a fan of suns, especially the one that's 93 million miles from here. And I hope it continues to be a winner.
Okay. Okay. This is going to be a weird night, man. I can tell.
Seems pretty standard to me.
Well, yeah, there's that. So, hey, one quick little piece of housekeeping. I need to apologize to anyone who's been checking on the Mac Voices group on Facebook. I don't know why or how, but for some reason that group seems to have been targeted by spammers recently. As soon as I get wind of something, I not only take the post down, but I also ban the author, and they just keep coming back like cockroaches. So if you check in and see something that's inappropriate there, first of all, my apologies. Second, please don't hesitate to hit the notify button, because maybe you'll see it before I do. But rest assured, it will disappear as soon as I can get to a computer and get rid of it. It's more than a little annoying, but it's there. So, and I've emailed Facebook, or messaged, I should say, Facebook about it. And, I get the usual stock thing of do this, do that, do the other. And I've already done those multiple times. So,
Yeah, they're targeting all sorts of groups these days.
yeah. So just a sign of the times, I'm afraid. But I still can't figure out what they get out of declaring certain celebrities dead and posting the notice on my page. But they do. So anyway, hey, as Ben said, up until noon, things were quiet today. Then everything exploded. Looks like we will have a new Apple event next Monday, this time Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, whatever time that is, wherever you are. And the hint seems to be, it is Scary Fast, which would seem to fall in line with rumors that have been flying around for a while about the new iMac, whether that's an M2 iMac, whether it's an M3 iMac, who knows? Any thoughts, guys? But the weirdest thing about this one is 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, during both Monday Night Football and the World Series.
Trick or treat.
Yeah. Well, no, Halloween's the next night, but it's
coming a day
Halloween
early for
Eve,
Apple
yeah.
fans.
Yeah, it's quite possibly the weirdest Apple event I have ever seen. Europe will be asleep. Most of North America will be doing other things. And to my knowledge, I have never seen Apple ever do a night event. In addition, they're pretty well telegraphing what's happening, because the Apple logo just morphs into the Mac OS logo.
Well, it's not like they were going to introduce more phones.
Fair.
That's true.
So, I mean, I'm open to speculation on the timing, because I know our friend Charlotte Henry was in the Mac Voices Slack saying, that just leaves Europe pretty much completely out of it. Now, to be fair about it, no matter what time they schedule it, it's going to leave somebody out of it somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
My friends in New Zealand are like, yeah.
Yeah.
Finally, they get some respect.
And I actually have friends in New Zealand.
So I don't know. I keep thinking that there's got to be a trick or treat Halloween theme of some kind here, and I just don't know what it is. What would be so overriding?
Yeah, there's got to be.
Well, what? But what?
I think
so
I already told
overriding?
you what the trick or treat Halloween theme is.
Yeah,
It's Scary Fast.
Yeah. I mean, there are kind of two questions here. Number one, will Tim Cook be wearing his Halloween costume during the video? And what exactly what processors these machines will be using? It seems kind of late in the cycle to have a an M2 series chip, but is it also too early for an M3 series?
And
And the
would,
fact
We'll
that
find out.
well, but would an M3 iMac make sense to be the first M3 chip released?
Yeah, but they
It
said they were going to
depends on
release
what the
Macs
M3
too.
chip. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
It depends on what the purpose of the M3 chip is. Just because it has a 3, and of course, I'm completely speculating here across the board. M3 doesn't have to mean this is bigger, beefier, faster. It could mean this is a more efficient processor. And so now you can take computers that are currently being constrained by a processor that's slower because of power consumption or heat issues, whatever. And now you can have this processor that's designed to let those machines run much faster.
A desktop machine. Well, first of all, how do we know it's an iMac?
We don't.
we don't.
We don't.
I mean, but Chuck seemed to be like, it's an iMac, so I thought maybe he knew something I didn't.
Because Gurman said so. There.
Yeah, well,
Well, the thing. Okay, so I mean, yeah, I guess you're not wrong, Jim. I mean, it just seems logical that would be. We haven't seen an update for so long that it should be about right in the cycle to see an iMac update. But you make a real good point. This could be a launch of M3, and I'll sort of take Jeff's comments and continue just on the idea that it's going to be wickedly fast. That would point more to an M3 or the next step in the evolution. So maybe it's not an iMac. Maybe it's equipping some of the higher end Mac studios, or even the laptops.
a new Mac Pro.
New Mac Studio.
Yeah. Guy Serle has joined us, and he's also waving at me, which, Guy, thank you for the wave. It's good to see you.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you. Sorry I was late.
No problem. No problem. And as you can tell, we're already into the speculating wildly about next Monday night.
Yeah, it could be an iMac. I just don't think it's going to be anything more than an iMac 24, if it's an iMac at all. I think this kind of non-event points to a Mac Mini, and it points to an upgraded Mac Studio. I think if they were going to release a new Mac Pro, they would have made a much bigger deal about it, even though it's not a really high-selling machine. I think that's exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be a Mac Mini. It's going to be a Mac Studio. And if they do an iMac, it won't be anything more than 24 inches that we already have.
Did they even have an event when they brought out the iMac in the first place?
It was part of an event.
Was
I
it?
don't think it
I
was.
don't think
I don't
it was
think it
a
was
event.
specified. I don't think it was specifically for the iMac. That was what, last year, year before?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, I think in the spring.
A couple of years.
500 days, is that what I heard? The last iMac came out.
900.
Right, but
Yeah.
was it in an event, or did they just do a press release?
It's so long ago, I don't remember.
I think it was
I
part
don't
of an
either.
event. But I mean, the whole point is the iMac is not the kind of machine that you hang a new processor on. It's a consumer machine, and that's who it's intended for. And as a consumer machine, it doesn't need the latest M2, M3, M4, whatever it is you want to call the next one that's coming out. It's going to piggyback off the success of other machines that, for the people that actually want iMacs, they just want an all-in-one kind of solution. So you've got a monitor, you've got a keyboard, you've got a mouse, you've got everything that you need to just take it out of the box and make it work. Whereas the people that want that kind of power, they're looking at the Mac Mini, they're looking at the Mac Studio. They're not necessarily looking at the Mac Pro, because that's just a crazy machine in any form or function that you want to give it. It doesn't make any sense for a prosumer to have a Mac Pro, an M series Mac Pro, which is why probably most of them are on Mac Studios or Mac Minis. I'm still on a M1 Mac Mini, and it's fantastic for everything that I'm using it for. It's why I didn't upgrade to the M2. Though I have to admit, in my heart of hearts, that if they come out with an M3 Mac Mini, I will probably be there with checkbook in hand.
I wonder with
Jeff?
all the. Oh, go ahead.
In our private chat, Jeff, you said, this is a non-event, pre-recorded. Have there been any live events since 2020?
No.
No,
I don't think
but
there have. So, the fact that, this is, it's not a non-event because, they're actually scheduling it and promoting it. They have gotten into the habit of doing minor things with just a press release or just a video. So, this is something a little more than that. Obviously it's not like the iPhone event or, and, it's interesting, they did put scary fast. So they've, maybe it's something that's not even going to ship. Maybe it's, M3 is coming and, here's, how fast it's going to be.
Well, I think if they were going to do that, they wouldn't have put the Mac Finder in the logo with the announcement. So there's more than likely going to be some kind of Mac that's going to be released on this. And the point I was listening to earlier, I don't remember who was making it, was that the M3 might not even be that big of a deal as compared to the M1 and the M2 that came before it. From everything that I've read so far, it's got the same number of cores, it's got the same number of CPU and GPU and all of the PUs that go along with it. So, but it's on a 3.2 millimeter process versus the
3
5
nanometer.
Nanometer.
Sorry. So it's
thinking of
much
huge.
smaller. It's going to
40%.
it's going to use less power. It's going to probably generate maybe a little bit more heat if it's trying to do the same thing, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be like a blazing fast processor as compared to the M series that came before it, and will most likely be more efficient for laptops, for portable machines.
So I'm going to riff off something Clea has put in the chat, because I keep wondering about this. We have been missing an iMac Pro for a long time. Do you think there's a possibility of a large screen 32 inch iMac
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think they're going to be ready.
The iMac Pro was never a big seller. It was never a big seller.
And it was a stopgap machine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And
very much so.
they're already perfectly happy to sell you a Mac Studio with a studio display.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if you don't want a studio display, there's plenty of displays out there that are almost as good for the people that aren't necessarily looking to do 4K video.
Yeah. Here's what kind of perplexes me about this event and the timing of it. Of the Macs that we have, the MacBook Air was just updated with the 15-inch version.
Beautiful.
The 13-inch MacBook Pro seems to be a corporate-only machine that is updated whenever the MacBook Air is. The Mac Mini and MacBook Pro were updated 10 months ago. The iMac is such an important part of Apple's lineup that they forgot about it for an entire generation of processors. And then the Mac Pro and Mac Studio were just updated at WWDC. I couldn't tell you what's going to get announced because I mean, it could be anywhere from just one machine, which I think if they're going to do that, they would have just done a press release, to a complete avalanche. I think the one thing we might be overlooking here is a lot of the structural or infrastructure improvements that were released with the iPhone 15 Pro and the A17 Pro processor. Basically, right now, Apple's phone has something that their entire Mac lineup does not.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, the A17 Pro is basically the same chip technology as what the M3 is going to be. You know, I think the thing is, though, that, you know, they have specifically said scary fast. So they've got to do something that's faster. They didn't say scary efficient. They said scary fast. So if you know, Monday night rolls around and we haven't seen something that we went, whoa, that's fast, then, you know, Apple is, you know, why would they have set us up like that? So,
well, I mean, they're not going to say
like they're going to have
machines coming.
Well, if they had mediocre machines coming, then don't have an announcement.
Yeah,
so
just do a
they
press
think it's
release.
worth. Yeah, they think it's worth doing an announcement, and in the announcement, they set us our expectation for something fast. So maybe it's new MacBook Pros. Maybe the M3s are coming earlier than, you know, Mark Gurman said, and it's really fast. I think I'm hoping the M3s are faster. I mean, you do a 40% die shrink, that's when you expect big single core processor performance jumps. So, you know, if that doesn't do it, then we're never going to see another big performance or significant performance jump.
So Brett in the chat room says Grouper is posting speculation that there will be a 27-inch iMac with an M2 Pro and M2 Max chips. And so,
honestly, if they're going to do that, I think
I'm not scared.
It 6 to 8 months ago.
Listen, Ben, there may have been good reasons they didn't want to. You know, what I think is interesting is at this time of year, this never strikes me as a time to release Pro machines. There's only one real reason to release a Pro machine right now, and that's it. And that's if you have money left over and you want to spend it in this year's budget, you're going to try to get it. So, you know, you can use that up. This seems more like a time that you're going to release something that is going to appeal to the consumer market because of holiday shopping.
Yep.
So,
I agree with that.
So
My money's on a
perhaps-
new iMac. So
Yeah.
perhaps a whole different class of machine.
Wasn't it the 2019 Mac Pro announced or released in the fall, and, you know, around this time of year?
Is the MacBook Pro a consumer machine?
No, Mac Pro,
Oh.
Mac Pro,
the
June of
tower.
If you're gonna, you know, I agree with Chuck. If you're gonna release new powerful business class machines, you want to do that in July or August before the end of the fiscal year. You don't wait until.
Well, if
just
they're
before
ready
Christmas.
in July or August, you know, they're ready when they're ready. You know, if they're ready now, you're not going to sit on it till next July.
Yeah, but then you would have an event scheduled at 10 a.m. Pacific, not 5.
I have a hypothesis on that I just came up with.
Okay.
Okay.
And what is it backed up by?
But hold on, let me pull this out from right here.
Okay. As long as there's confirmational bias, that's all I'm interested
Oh,
in.
absolutely.
Okay.
All
good.
right. So the whole idea of a Pro machine right now, Chuck, you have convinced me that this is not the time to release that. Okay, so let's focus on consumer machines. Maybe it's a new Mac Mini, maybe it's a new iMac. And when I say new, I mean spec bump, not a whole new product in those lines. And you want to make sure that people know about this and are buying this during the holiday buying season. And you want them to be seeing this as you make the announcement. do it after they get home from work.
Wouldn't it be interesting, because we haven't, this is pure speculation because we haven't seen anything about this, but wouldn't it be interesting if later in the Monday Night Football and the World Series that Apple brought in some brand new ad spots for stuff that was just announced an hour earlier?
That makes sense.
I love this idea.
I think you're reading too much into the time of day. I mean, 99% of the world out there has no idea. Like, iPhone event, that's the big event of the year. And the real world people that I know, they maybe a week later, they'll be like, did Apple do something? People are not stopping everything and like, oh my gosh, there's an Apple event. I've got to, it's not going to get any different audience at 5 p.m. than at 10 a.m. The people like us are going to watch it. The people in Europe will get up and, watch it the next day that are interested, and especially since we're talking about a Mac and not iPhones. So, people that are interested in Macs will find out about it. And so, I think somebody had an idea for tapping into Halloween. So, let's have some fun and do it in the evening, and decided that maybe Halloween Eve is not Halloween, the day of Halloween. Well, let's not do it on Tuesday. That's actually Halloween. So we'll go one day early but we could still have a November 1st. You can't really do a Halloween theme, but there's scary Halloween movies all weekend, right? So Apple's going to do a scary Halloween movie, and whatever it is, I better be scared.
I tend to agree with Jim. I think the time is
and a 24-inch iMac is not going to scare me. So I want more.
Brian?
I was just say, I think the timing is just trying something. I agree. Most people aren't necessarily tuned in live to that Apple event. If they hear about it, they get that press and they read about it. They watch it later on YouTube. It's got millions of views, that type of thing. But how many at the moment, versus later on. So it might just be something trying a different time.
Well, I mean, how many people other than people like us actually watch these events? I mean, there's a lot of people that are interested in what Apple does. But if you follow that up with commercials in the National League Series and the American League Series during the next weekend with the various NFL games, then you get the word out very, very quickly to John Q. Public, which are the people that are going to be buying consumer-based machines. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter when they have the event. And the fact that they no longer have it live just puts a special emphasis on that. It really doesn't matter. They could do it at 3 o'clock in the morning, and we would all still be up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch the damn thing. But
I think the only reason why they had to have it at 10 in the past was because they were inviting press, and press doesn't want to show up at 3 in the morning or probably even 5 in the evening, although I'm sure the press would show up, whenever they were told to, appear.
Yeah, for live events.
Mm-hmm. Well,
right. But there's, no live event. So
just a couple of things, just observations. I kind of agree with Guy, excuse me.
Hey, it's okay. You got the last name right. So that's all that matters.
Yeah, spell my name right. That's all I ask.
I can't tell you how many people mispronounce it.
Anyway, I still think it's a consumer-based show or a consumer-based device. I think they do the 10 o'clock because they do want to get the business press. Okay, that's important to them. They need to get the business press live. They need the CNBCs and the business channels, Bloomberg. So that's why they want to do the morning events. I still think this is more of a consumer-based event. Let me ask this question. Does anybody have a feeling how successful this generation of iMacs been over the last, they haven't updated it in God knows how long. Is it, I'm not going to say it's unimportant, but is it the most important compared to what people are doing with MacBooks and MacBook Airs and all that?
It doesn't matter because Apple no longer tells us how many machines are sold in each category anymore. So,
well, if it is selling like gangbusters, it would have made it a priority.
Yeah, anecdotally, no.
Yeah, I think it's unimportant.
It's the machine. It's the machine that they steer people toward if they don't want them coming back with service questions and things like that. It's like, okay, you're switching from Windows, you're just replacing that 2015 to 2017 iMac that you had before. This is a wonderful machine. You want to hook up another monitor to it and have dual monitors with it that you bought from Dell or Lenovo or whoever. Great, this is it. This will work right here, and it'll be like you never left your old machine. It'll just be faster.
Well, they really only have one machine in the lineup right now where you could update it with, say, an M3 and call it, scary fast in comparison. And that's the 24-inch iMac. Put an M3 in it, and, you get all the nice charts showing how much faster it is than the last one. And then if it's got some of the features that they have in the phone, maybe it's a little bit better at gaming and can show the kid type games or something, and maybe a couple other ones or some web based things. I don't know. It seems, I can't think of where else that would match the scary fast part. I guess the other thing is if they're transitioning over to M3 processors kind of across the board, you have a lot of processors that get binned that are appropriate for all of, for the 24-inch iMacs, for the MacBook class machines. Maybe that's it. So
they released the new iMac. It'll be perfect opportunity to update the mouse with a USB-C mouse, but they'll probably still put the charge port on the bottom.
Oh my God, right?
This panel is back to speculate more on Apple's Scary Fast event and what could be coming our way, and there's no shortage of ideas. I'm Chuck Joyner. I'll see you next time on Mac Voices. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with Mac Voices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.